The male gender has so much role to play in the life or in the plans of God. There's a reason God decided to put the seed for conception in the man and not the woman. The way the man is designed, it is obvious that in God's heart and in God's purposes, headship, leadership, and authority is with the male gender. It is God's design. It's not my design. It's God's design. So it's a privilege to be born a man. So it becomes worrisome that somebody is born a man and he feels that he's in the wrong body, and then he wants to change and begin to look like something else. In fact, you can change to begin to look like a dog. You can change to begin to look like a crocodile. In some cases, men choose that they want to look like women. So there's another problem in society. It's called the feminization of the male gender. Feminization of the male gender. So for instance, if you are like me, that is a romantic, I better don't say something, so my wife is around. Okay. So if you are a loving man, if you are a tender man, if you are a caring man, society calls you a simp. Have you heard the word before? Simp. Because society believes that a man should not be weak. Their description of being weak is that if you, for instance, you are married and you help your wife to wash clothes, you are a simp. If, for instance, you are married and you help your wife to cook in the kitchen, you are a simp. All right? That man should not be soft. That's the closest word I can use. So it's important that we sit down and look at it carefully together and arrive at a conclusion. What does a real man look like? So for instance, now there are sisters in our midst, or sisters online, sisters in the church generally, who think that what makes a man is his muscles. And I can even show you the way the Shulamite describes her beloved in Songs of Solomon. The words she uses to describe, even his head has a description. She's deliberate, because in the eyes of the average female, a man is first attractive because of how he is built. Are you with me? So there are some sisters that even though God appears from heaven and all the pillars in this place start jumping and shaking, and the man is short, in sisters' eyes, short men are not men. Are you with me? And there are many sisters here. They are not men. They just feel that a man should not be short. So the classic definition of what a man looks like is tall, dark, and handsome. Have you seen it? They don't say short, fair, and handsome, because for females, a man's build is very important. So is it muscles? Is it six-pack? Is it chest? That's why some brothers want to die in the gym. Some brothers here now, part of their goals this year is to gym. They have gymming equipment at the back of their house, because even in society, when they do adverts, do you see how they portray men? Have you seen any advert of a men's singlet, men's boxers, men's cars, that they use a man like Pastor Barrow? Have you ever seen it? No. They use a man with muscles. As he's wearing the singlet will pass the bicep like pwah. Is programming. Is it muscles that makes a man a real man? If they are not looking at a man's appearance, they are looking at a man's economic status. that a real man is defined by his economic standing. So, where does he work? How much does he earn? What is his bank balance? What can he afford? And I'm beginning here because even in Christian space, females, when a brother approaches them, part of what the first things that come to their mind is, can he afford to take care of me? And there's nothing wrong with desiring to have a man that can take care of you. But you see, there's a narrative in the world that we must correct as Christians. The narrative in the world is women like money. Are you with me? Men, just give them money. As long as you give them money, they'll be happy. Women can do anything for money. So men in the world, their ambition is to be able to raise enough money so that their economic status will make them attractive. Have you not heard, brother, that man no need fine? Have you heard that in Warri before? Say, man no need fine. Now in pocket, now need fine. For those of us that don't understand that pidgin English, that a man does not need to be beautiful. A man does not need to be handsome. If his pocket is handsome, then the man is fine. So even if the man is an unbeliever, even if the man is a thief, even if the man is a womanizer, even if the man is an adulterer, even if the man is a cultist, if he has money in his pocket, the world says that he's a what? A real man. If they are not looking at his economic status, they are looking at his education. That for a man to be a real man, he has to be educated to a certain level, and not just educated on paper, he needs to have some level of eloquence. So masculinity is measured in the world by, first, looks, second, economic status, third, education. That he has to be educated to some level. He needs to be able to speak well, he needs to be able to talk well, he needs to be at least able to engage in certain conversations. That if a man is going to be attractive, he should at least be educated to some level. Masculinity in the world is measured on the fourth scale by what we call exposure. Exposure. And what do I mean by exposure? What do we call exposure? The effect that a man portrays as a result of his experience. So once you've experienced certain things, those experiences will have consequence on you. That consequence that experience has is what we call exposure. So for instance, a man that is well traveled will have certain experiences that a man that has not left Warri has never experienced. Are you with me? So that's what exposure is. If you've been to a higher institution, this is why we say things like, it's not enough to go through school. School must also what? Go through you. Because school itself is not just getting a degree, it is what? Exposure.